I saw somebody walking past and he was dressed in a very traditional style. What's his role here? Is that just...
You need to press. Come on, buddy. You need to, this is on. You need to press that little round thing on the back of the...
Push and hold, about 2 seconds. Push and hold.
Yeah, for 3 or 5 seconds, a little bit longer, yeah. Push that round button, and then you can hear me good. Okay? Can you hear me? Everybody check, good? Okay. Very nice. The day is perfect. Let me walk you through a quick, detailed tour on this map first. Okay. Excuse me, could you hold it for me for a second? Okay. So this is the map of the Forbidden City. It is a huge 72 hectares. That is equivalent to the size of 100 football fields. Do you know where we are now? This is my first question to you. Yeah. Where?
Yeah,
here? Oh, there. Yeah, actually here, right here. Well, not to that gate yet.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah, we're seeing
close,
this.
Close.
Yeah, very close. Not 10 kilometers apart. So now we just enter this gate. The gate is called the Meridian gate because the emperor thought that his residence was built along this Meridian line, and the gate stands at the southern part of this line. It should be called the Meridian gate. Okay, the central entrance is reserved for the emperor only. Nobody else were allowed to walking in the middle back in the days. But there are two types of the people. They had one chance in their lifetime to walk through the middle entrance, just one shot in their whole lifetime. One was the empress. On the day when they get married with the emperor, they had one chance to walk through the middle entrance. Another type of the people were those people that scored the highest throughout the famous or the highest level examination. They had one chance to walk through the central entrance. So there's only two types of people had one chance to walk through the central entrance. Like I mentioned, the size of the Forbidden City is 72 hectares. That's about 178 acres, and the size of 100 football fields. Yes, which accommodate 9,317 rooms altogether in this huge complex. If one wants to sleep through one individual room on a daily basis, it's gonna take 25 years to experience all the rooms in the Forbidden City. And if you have plenty of time and to give a very detailed visit to all those exhibition house and different rooms in the Forbidden City, it's gonna take at least two full days. Okay, but our tour is like an in-depth tour. We'll be doing more than those regular tour groups. Most of them will just walk along the central axis to see the most important ones. Enter in from the south and exit from the north, and that will take around 1 hour only. But our tour will be going just like I mentioned, will be going for more than 3 hours. But our major traveling route will be along this central axis as well. Okay, and but the thing is, most of those buildings built along the central axis, they do not open to the public. We cannot walk into the palace. That means we cannot give them a very good look of those furniture displayed in those major palaces. That's why our tour will start from a furniture hall in this area, where 300 beautiful furniture displayed in that hall. They are all the original furniture from the Qing dynasty. They are very similar to those furniture displayed in those major palaces. We will give them a very close look to those beautiful furniture. Okay, and the Forbidden City is also divided into two parts, the outer court and the inner court. The outer court refers to those three major palaces where the emperor celebrated their birthdays, the winter solstice, the Chinese New Year. But they didn't come to this area very often, say 3 or 4 times a year. 无事不登三宝殿，没有事他们是不来的。They spend most of their times in the inner court in this area to stay with their empresses.
Michael, do you mind if we ask questions as you go? So
Yeah.
two questions from my side. The 1,900 houses, are they all the exact same, or do they differ because someone has a little bit more of a higher ranking, or so you got bigger, fancier homes and then smaller homes?
Yeah.
All the same.
So 9,000 rooms. 9,300.
9,000.
Yeah, 9,317 rooms. So they're different. They look very similar, Because they all arranged in a very good layout. They were symmetrically built, either on the front or in the back or on the east or on the west. But they have different levels. Okay, like the building we'll be seeing right behind this palace, we'll be seeing the most important, most striking palace in the Forbidden City. That is the tallest, with the highest construction rank. Those smaller buildings will be in low status. They look very similar, but each of them have a different rank.
Okay.
Okay.
And second question, how much revamping or refurbishing has happened here? Is it the exact same way we see it, or is there any updates?
A lot of update.
A lot of
like that building right behind us, which is renovated last year. Okay. And a lot of buildings, originally all those palaces were built in the Ming Dynasty 600 years ago. Are you anyone familiar with this sign? This is a finger sign that indicated the number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so most of the buildings were established about 600 years ago, but they were burned down. They were destroyed a number of times. I would say 99% of the buildings we are seeing now currently were rebuilt in the Qing Dynasty, the later dynasty. I'll give you a little bit more information about those different dynasties. Okay, so let's continue on this map. Is that okay?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So we'll be going from the outer court to the inner court to see their ceremonial palaces and the living quarters. Okay, if time permit, we'll be visiting this area to the latest residence, where we'll be seeing the living residence for that lady. She was nicknamed as the Dragon Lady, Empress Dowager Cixi, the most powerful lady at the end of the Qing Dynasty. She ruled the country for 48 years, the most powerful lady. Those emperors were the puppet emperors during her ruling period. Okay, so we'll be visiting her residence in this area right here. And then we'll be going through this beautiful imperial garden, see a little bit of it, where we'll be seeing the living quarter, the living lodge of the emperor's English teacher. When we finish the tour in the imperial garden, we go a little bit on the eastern part of the Forbidden City. We'll be seeing the only European-style building in the Forbidden City. That building has the similar fate as the Titanic. So the Titanic Palace in the Forbidden City, that's the end of the tour. So when we finish the outer core in this area, we will take like a 15-minute long bathroom coffee break. Okay? So where you can just walk around to grab some souvenir, grab a cup of coffee, because we'll be walking around 7,000 steps in the Forbidden City. Okay, so that's the brief introduction about this area. And later on, we'll be going to that furniture hall and then coming out of that gate, where has the best angle taking pictures in this area. So don't worry of taking pictures. You can take a million pictures in the Forbidden City later. Okay, let's turn it around to see those beautiful. Thank you, gentlemen. Take a look at those beautiful pictures of the emperors. 26 emperors in the Ming and the Qing dynasties. Those two dynasties are the latest dynasties in China history. So in that list, for the different dynasties, there are many of them. The first feudalistic dynasty started in the Qin dynasty 2,200 years ago, and then followed by Han, Jin, Sui, Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, Qing for more than 2,000 years. Those two dynasties are the last dynasties in China's history. Both Ming and Qing emperors, they lived in the Forbidden City for 500 years. Those two emperors, they established the Ming dynasty, but they lived in Nanjing, the former capital city of the Ming dynasty. And the third emperor, this gentleman, who moved the capital because he usurped the power from his nephew. And his nephew died, and nobody knows where his whereabouts is. Because he's stationed in Beijing for many years, he wanted to move the Forbidden City, move the capital city actually, from Nanjing to Beijing. He built the Forbidden City in 1420. The construction started in 1406, which took 14 years, and completed in 1420. So let's do the math. What is the age of the Forbidden City? 605 years. Excellent. 605 years. So that's the age of the Forbidden City. So among the 605 years, 500 among those 600 years, 500 years used as the living residence for those 24 emperors. And this palace opened this huge complex opened to the public in 1924 and used as the Palace Museum for another 100 years. That's why some of my customers may ask me why the Forbidden City has two names, Forbidden City and the Palace Museum. Because which used as the living residence for those emperors for 500 years, first 500 years, and then the Palace Museum from 1925. So this year is the 100th anniversary of the foundation of the Palace Museum. Okay, so 24 emperors. This guy who built the Forbidden City, and when he passed away, he gave the throne to his son, grandson, great-grandson, and for 14 generations until this poor guy, Emperor Chongzhen, he come across some big troubles when the country was plagued by corruption, civil war, and the eunuchs' interference in politics, affectional infighting. Are you aware of the word of the eunuch? Man got castrated, eunuch. The emperor had a lot of those eunuchs working in the Forbidden City for them because they had so many ladies. Okay, so this guy who had a lot of trouble during that period, around the time of 1644, especially fighting against those peasant uprising army. They were fighting against the dynasty. Finally, in April 1644, they made their way to Beijing and attacking the city of Beijing. This emperor, the last emperor in the Ming, he got so desperate. He was trying to summon his ministers and officials to fight them off, but nobody helped him. He got so desperate and felt so helpless, and then he went up to the hill located behind the Forbidden City, where he overlooked the city, which was consumed by fire, fighting and crying. He got so desperate, and then he went up to the tree and committed suicide by hanging himself under the tree. When marked at the end of the Ming dynasty, and then those peasant uprising army, they broke into the Forbidden City and occupied this place for 42 days. And later on, those Manchurian people, they took the advantage of the civil war took place in inland China. And then they come to Beijing and defeated those peasant uprising army, kicked them out of the Forbidden City, and then they occupied the whole country later on and started a new dynasty. It is called the Qing dynasty, which lasted for 267 years until the last emperor, Emperor Puyi. Okay, so the Ming and the Qing dynasties, this dynasty goes for 267 years until this emperor. There's only one photograph out of the 26 portrait because he's the most recent one. The last emperor, he was proclaimed to be the emperor at the age of only 3 years old, but he retired. He abdicated at the age of, what is the number? Six. Yeah, he retired and abdicated at the age of 6 years old. And he still lived inside the Forbidden City until when? 1924, excellent. 1924, and then he was kicked out of the Forbidden City. Next year, in 1925, the whole complex opened to the public as a Palace Museum. Okay, guys, so this is a brief introduction about those buildings and the emperors. Any more questions about this area? So far, so good?
I saw somebody walking past and he was dressed in a very traditional style. What's his role here? Is that just
They are just a regular tourist. Okay, they want to just dress themselves like the concubine and the empress, take some beautiful and memorable photos in the Forbidden City. That's it. They're just a regular tourist. You can dress like that too.
Not today. Not today.
They rent their clothes outside the Forbidden City. Okay. Thank you. Now we are heading to the furniture hall, and then we'll be coming back to that gate. Where has the best angle taking pictures in this area? Thank you, gentlemen. This is for you. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Let's go that way.